Listen up, because there is a kid absolutely shattering the playbook right now. From a La Masia prospect to the undisputed king of the Barcelona midfield, we are talking about Marc Bernal. What this kid is pulling off in 2026 is pure insanity on a roster packed with heavy hitters. Bernal stands as the ultimate anchor, the beacon lighting up the pitch when the game gets gritty. His elite ball retrieval, his razor-sharp vision, and above all else, that cold-blooded maturity for a teenager have shoved him right into the global spotlight. Today, we break down his rise to the starting 11, his tactical genius, and the million-dollar question hanging over the club. What happens when Frenkie de Jong returns from injury? Is the Dutchman's spot safe, or did Bernal just slam the door shut? Buckle up, this deep dive is packed with hard stats and unfiltered Barcelona truth. Hit subscribe and smash that notification bell so you do not miss a single second. Before we argue his starting spot, let us look at his roots. Marc is pure, uncut La Masia day. He stepped into the academy system at just 6 years old, grinding from the absolute bottom. Right from those early drills, the scouts knew they were holding a generational talent. It was not just his towering frame bullying kids off the ball. It was that lethal left foot and a freakish ability to read plays before they happened. Marc flew through the ranks at a blistering pace, wearing the captain's armband and dominating every youth level he touched. His game constantly evolved, morphing from a box-to-box threat into the offensive anchor the club had spent years begging for, but the road to glory was definitely not a smooth ride. We all remember that brutal kickoff to the 2024-25 campaign under Hansi Flick. Marc suffered a devastating knee blowout, robbing him of the pitch for nearly a year. It was a gut punch for the fans. He was just starting to crack the main squad with unreal maturity. Critics feared the injury would ruin his career, but Bernal flexed absolute mental steel. He leaned heavily on his family, grinded in total silence at the facility, and marched into the 2025-26 season stronger, faster, and packing a deadlier ache. That brutal layoff game time to dissect the game from the sidelines, music, mastering Flick X system, and coming back to take the throne he was destined for. His comeback is the most epic redemption story this club has seen in years, going from the rehab room to undisputed starter in mere months. Right now, watching Marc play is a masterclass in field geometry. In Flick's brutal, high-pressing meat grinder, Bernal glides out there like a ghost. The wildest part of his recent run, it is not his footwork. It is the damage he does off the ball. He has morphed into an absolute turnover machine in the trenches lately, including that masterclass against Newcastle and the bloodbath against Sevilla. His steal numbers are purely world-class. He is stripping the ball nearly 9 times a game, usually deep in enemy territory, keeping the chokehold on the opposition. Bernal knows exactly when to blitz and when to drop back and protect his midfielders. He is a genius holding mid who never resorts to cheap fools to pick a pocket. His long strides and elite pass reading do the damage, but do not get it twisted. He is no simple enforcer. His ball distribution is the weapon that makes him an absolute unicorn. He connects on about 93% of his short passes, but his lethal long balls that shatter defensive lines, that is the real magic. In this warp-speed Barcelona transition game, Marc dictates all the chaos. His threading passes to Lamine Yamal or Pedri act like daggers cutting through low blocks, and we cannot ignore his firepower. Even though he is the main anchor, he has been completely unleashed lately. He is cashing in clutch goals, crashing the box, and firing absolute rockets from mid-range. It is a massive weapon he sharpened to perfection during his rehab stint. Tall, powerful, technical, and a sniper, the ultimate modern pivot. Which brings us to the massive elephant in the room. What on earth happens to Frenkie de Jong? The Dutchman has been a heavy hitter for years, carrying one of the fattest paychecks on the entire squad. Frenkie is knocking on the door of his comeback, and look, nobody denies the guy's pure technical genius. But de Jong brings a totally different flavor than Bernal. Frenkie thrives as a pure ball carrier. He demands possession right at his feet, driving forward to shatter defensive lines with his dribbling. Bernal, he is a true holding mid, a pure anchor. He orchestrates the entire squad without hogging the spotlight or the rock. And boom, here is Flick's ultimate tactical nightmare. Flick's master plan finally struck absolute gold, with Bernal holding down the fort. By staying completely disciplined in his zone, he unleashes the fullbacks to bomb forward, letting the central midfielders attack relentlessly without creating massive, gaping holes defensively. Frenkie, he is way more chaotic. He drops deep, hunting for touches, honestly just clogging up space that belongs to the centre-backs. Historically, that absolute structural mess forced Barca to pay a brutal, heavy price on the counter-attack. Fast forward to now, with Bernal pulling the strings, This squad feels like an absolute fortress. The La Masia kid delivers something completely missing since Busquets vanished. A rock-solid anchor locking down the whole pitch. If Flick forces De Jong into the starting 11, whose head rolls, benching Bernal right now, pure tactical suicide, considering the absolute clinic he is putting on. Shoving Pedri aside makes zero sense, either, with how beautifully this engine is humming. Plus, we have got to talk about earning your stripes. Marc Bernal fought tooth and nail for that jersey, bleeding in practice, and bouncing back from a devastating, career-threatening injury, ripping him out of the starting lineup during his absolute prime, just to squeeze in a guy totally covered in rust. I do not care if his name is Frenkie de Jong. That sends a toxic, soul-crushing message straight into that locker room. Bernal is the ultimate symbol of youth, pure hunger, and the lifeblood of this franchise. Head down, zero complaints, just grinding and delivering. Break down his brutal impact over these last 5 matchups, and the stats simply scream off the page. He is sparking more lethal scoring threats through vertical passing than literally any other defensive mid in the entire league. Right now, his pure mind meld with the centre-backs, especially locking in with this brand new defensive core, is absolute perfection. He is constantly the very first guy demanding the ball, deep in the trenches to kickstart the offense. Slipping between the defenders, he builds an impenetrable back 3 that utterly shutters high pressure. Every single touch he takes sanitizes the Chios. Smart, simple, yet devastatingly aggressive when the window opens. That ice-cold composure inside an absolute hurricane has these fans completely hypnotized, screaming his name from the bleachers every single week. De Jong stepping back on the grass might just force Flick to experiment with a double pivot, a gritty system the German mastermind actually knows well. But let's be real. Could a Bernal and De Jong partnership actually survive out there? Bernal desperately needs to be the lone alpha dog to truly dominate, while Frenkie demands absolute freedom to roam. It is a massive, stressful puzzle. Honestly, we will probably just witness De Jong getting slowly spoon-fed minutes off the bench. Bernal exploding onto the scene is also sending absolute shockwaves straight through the transfer market right now. For literal years, Barcelona scoured the entire globe, desperately hunting for the next Busquets, blowing mountains of cash on absolute busts. Turns out, the golden ticket was chilling right at home in La Masia. This kid just saved the franchise millions of dollars in transfer fees. His stock is going through the roof, with European heavyweights circling like sharks. But Barcelona's front office is completely slamming the door. Marc is absolutely untouchable. He is the cornerstone they are banking on to lock down this midfield for the next solid decade. Extending his deal is top priority. Management wants to lock him down with a monster buyout clause to completely scare off those billionaire owners. It is legitimately electric watching a kid this young completely shoulder the massive burden of running Barcelona's engine room. Ice in his veins, he never hesitates to demand the rock from seasoned vets or ruthlessly bark positioning orders at his own teammates. He built that ultimate locker room respect through pure dominance. Last Champions League night, he led the entire pitch in stripping the ball away deep in enemy territory. Completely insane stats for a holding midfielder. It just screams elite, calculated aggression backed up by a freakish motor. Bernal does not just burn empty miles out there. His positioning is dangerously lethal. Bottom line here, we are front row for the birth of an absolute superstar who is destined to define an entire generation. He earned that starting spot in blood, and he is the ultimate weapon in Flick's playbook. He is proving you can be a rookie and the ultimate field general simultaneously. Frenkie's massive return is going to be a total godsend just for the insane depth it injects into this roster. But make no mistake, the keys to this Ferrari belong entirely to Marc Bernal right now. The hometown hero forged in La Masia, the warrior who crushed a devastating injury, and the very guy giving us hope to utterly conquer Europe from the center circle once again. Alright, Barca family, sound off in the comments. Does Marc Bernal deserve to keep that starting spot lockdown even when Frenkie hits 100%? Or are you rolling with the pure veteran experience and that slippery Dutch magic when the massive stakes are on the line? Drop your ratings for Bernal's incredible breakout season right down below. Scale of 1 to 10. Let's go. Sound off in the comments. This war of words is just beginning, and I need to know where the true fans stand. Smash that like button if this breakdown got your blood pumping. Send this to your Barca diehards. Lock in and subscribe right now for more elite heat. Thanks for braving the arena today. Huge respect to the squad, and catch you next round.